What an incredible opening weekend for the 2026 MLS season. Absolutely everything you could have asked for as far as excitement, big matchups, key performances by several different players. I mean, this has to be one of the best opening weekends that I can remember, and so much quality. But the unique thing about this was it wasn't just because of the superstars, it was because of some of these younger players who have played for the first time or gotten significant minutes, the young U.S. players. There's so much to talk about today. We're going to get into all of this. But before we get into that, guys, make sure you like this video down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. So as you see, first, we're going to talk about the LA Galaxy versus NYCFC. The LA Galaxy were terrible in 2025. After winning MLS Cup in 2024, we know that Ricky Puig tore his ACL for the second year in a row and will miss this season again. And then New York City FC on the other side were a team that went to the Eastern Conference Final in 2025. So their expectations were to be as good in 2026. Now, Alonso Martinez tore his ACL last year before the Eastern Conference game, and they have a big hole at striker. Fernandez was essentially having to play striker today for NYCFC, and you could tell they just desperately need a striker. The LA Galaxy looked a lot better in this game than they did last year because they have a true striker or someone who's more competent up top, and João Klaus, who they bought from St. Louis City SC, scored in the second minute of the game, and they just looked sharp. They looked more like their 2024 self. But they're still missing Ricky Puig, and they still showed some defensive deficiencies. And Garces got a red card in the 65th minute, which led to Fernandez getting a penalty, scoring, tying this game up. LA Galaxy not able to get more than a point at home in their debut game. But we also saw that they have potential, but there's a couple things that need to be fixed. Joseph Paintsil and Gabriel Peck really haven't looked the same since 2024. And maybe that's because of Puig. Maybe it's because they didn't have a striker between them. They could play make and kind of help them out a little bit. So we'll see how it progresses down the end of the season. But this was a disappointing performance from the LA Galaxy, not because they weren't good, but because they started off so hot and they just really collapsed. And they can't do that this year. They're going to have to be more consistent in the back line, especially, and they're going to have to be more consistent with their DPs. Their DPs are going to have to step up in 2025. NYCFC still missing some pieces. Thought they looked okay today. Not as good as they could have, but hey, they're very fortunate to come out with a point in this game on the road across the country, right? So this game ends in a 1-1 draw for the season opener for the Galaxy and NYCFC. Now, moving on to the next game, we have San Diego FC and Montreal. San Diego FC were the number one team in the Western Conference in 2025, and Montreal was one of the worst teams in MLS, and they just got absolutely beat down. Beat down. And by the way, we're going to do something a little different into this. I'm going to give like my player of the week and stuff, and who I was most impressed with team-wise in this week. But Dreyer, business as usual, absolutely cooked, had 2 assists in this game. And Be honest with you guys, I thought that San Diego FC might struggle a little more this year, not because they were going to be bad or anything, but because they were going more into this Right to Dream Academy, the youth movement, right? So I thought they would maybe struggle a little bit, not be bad, but not maybe first place. But my God, they won 5-0. They won 5-0 on the Montreal. Montreal looked like the worst team in the league. And Toto Alvarez gets a red card. What's new, right? Toto Alvarez keeps his tradition going. Red card in the 50th minute. McVay scored in the 14th minute. Pellegrino scored in the 45th minute. Valacari scored in the 54th minute. Ingvartsen scored in the 59th minute. And Zambol scored in the 85th minute. I mean, the team was just scoring left and right. 5 goals. I mean, dare I say this team could be better in 2026? I don't know. I don't know if we can go there yet, but they look like they could be. And Montreal looks like they are going to be the worst team in the league in 2026. Moving on to the next game, we have the Houston Dynamo and the Chicago Fire. Now, the Houston Dynamo was a team that I had in 2026 with a huge target on their back because they are expected to perform, or they're going to have a significant turnover on the roster, and probably fire Ben Olsen. And then the Chicago Fire's team, I'm very high on. I thought, with Greg Berhalter year 2, more familiarity, I thought this team would be, very, very solid, maybe even second or third place in the Eastern Conference. But Houston Dynamo, I thought looked really good. They went down early on, 31st minute. Kuiper scored, but they just looked really, really good. And you just kind of see the potential of what they could be. I thought Bogusz I thought he looked, pretty good settling in. First game in MLS in since 2024. I thought Guilherme was incredible. My God, his pace. This was a DP signing that I was a little skeptical about because I think, he was a journeyman in the Serie A of Brazil, or the Brazilian league. And he's 30, 31 years old. But my God, he looked good. He was the best player for him. And it's not just because he scored a brace. When I watched him with the ball, he looked explosive. He looked really explosive. And this is what they needed. They've got him, Bogusz, and Ponce as the 3 DPs. And I thought the back line was solid. Overall, Halter was solid. I thought McGlynn was okay in the midfield. But this team just felt more competent this game than they did last year. And explosive, and the goals. I feel like this team is going to score a bunch in 2025 or 2026. And as far as the Fire, just not a good game for them. Thought Chris Brady had a poor game. I think that they missed Jonathan Bamba. I don't know when he's going to be back, but they missed his explosiveness on the wing. I'm not worried about the Fire, though. I think the Fire is still a very good team. They only lost 2-1, even though they think they got outplayed. They only lost 2-1. So we'll see. They did win on possession stuff. I think this is just a slip-up game. It's week 1. Someone's got to lose or draw. It's not going to be a win for everybody. We'll see what they do going forward. Now, let's talk about the Red Bulls and Orlando City. Red Bulls, Orlando City. This one was super cool to me because of the youth movement in this game. I mentioned this earlier at the beginning of the video. The young players that played. The Red Bulls had 3 players start in their starting 11 that were 17 years old or younger. Julian Hall, Matthew Dos Santos, and Adri Mehmeti all started under 17 or younger. And Julian Hall had a brace in this game at 17 years old. Mehmeti looked like he was the best player on the pitch at some points in the game. I mean, he had an incredible, he has a super high ceiling. And I don't think he's going to be in MLS for very long. And they played a pretty formidable opponent. The Orlando City's not bad. Maxime Crepeau, I think, had a very good game. Honestly, I think he did. I think he had a very good game. I don't know how many saves he ended up having this match. He had 11 saves this match, but I think that Maxime Crepeau had a good game. It's just the Red Bulls were just spectacular. They were just playing such beautiful soccer under Michael Bradley, first-year head coach, USMNT legend, future USMNT coach. I just think that the Red Bulls were so cool to watch and so unique, guys, because it's different. Like, I was texting my good friend Derek Ritchie over this weekend about how it's so cool to see the youth movement and then play. Like, how long is it going to be until an MLS player who has a lot of talent and is young pops off and becomes maybe one of the better players in the league? It happens all across the world. There will be a young player who comes up and just shines. It becomes instantly one of the better players of the league. Lamine Yamal. I'm not saying any of these guys are Lamine Yamal. I'm just an example. He came up to the academy. He's arguably the best player in the world. Why can't MLS have a player in their league who's young and one of the best players in the league? I think that's about to change. I think we're about to see the crazy youth movement in 2026. It starts with the New York Red Bulls, and they have 3 players who are 17 years or younger, 17 years old or younger. They win 2-1. Incredible. And then we're going to finish it off with the games that I watched with Nashville SC and New England Revolution. Nashville SC won 4-1. I was super high on Nashville heading into the season. They signed Christian Espinosa, one of the most underrated signings in the league. Now, he didn't score, get an assist in this game, but you could see the difference he made with the attention he grabbed. Sam Surridge has a brace, scores in the 6th and the 16th minute. Sam Surridge was in the Golden Boot race in 2025. He will be in the Golden Boot race in 2026. And then Hany Mukhtar scored, and Madrigal scored as well. I mean, this Nashville SC team is just fun to watch. They were beating the hell out of the New England Revolution. It was 3-0, and then Campana scored. It was 3-1, and then it ended up being 4-1. Now, the Revolution are a team that's also starting a lot of young kids. They're starting a lot of young kids, but like Brooklyn Reigns and Ethan Kohler. I mean, they're starting so many young kids. And so I expect there to be some growing pains under Marko Mitrovic, but this is still a good performance by the Nashville SC to do this to them. And Nashville SC is a very, very scary team. I don't know what their ceiling is, but I know that they're going to be a thorn in the side of many, many teams, and they are a team to watch out for in the Eastern Conference. So, other games that we're breaking down from this weekend. DC United beat Philadelphia 1-0, which I thought Philadelphia was going to struggle in 2026. Vancouver, the Western Conference champions, beat RSL 1-0. Austin FC draw with Minnesota United 2-2. That's a stalemate. That's two very good teams. Two teams I think are going to have a very good 2026 season. FC Dallas beats Toronto FC 3-2. Toronto FC can't get Josh Sargent in here quick enough to help out in the attack. And then LAFC and Inter Miami, we did a post-game recap for that. LAFC obviously dominated Inter Miami 3-0. San Jose beats Sporting Kansas City 3-0. Portland beats the Columbus Crew 3-2. I think Columbus is going to struggle in 2026. And then today, you obviously broke down the Galaxy game, but the Sounders beat Colorado 2-0. And Jordan Morris goes down with an injury. We'll see how serious that's going to be and how much time he's going to miss. But MLS opening weekend is over with. Incredible weekend. I don't know how much you guys enjoyed it, but I absolutely loved it. Would love to know what you guys think. Oh, by the way, my player of the week, Julian Hall. 17-year-old with a brace. Have to give it to him. He was my player of the week because of the age, the spotlight, and what he did. My consolation or my backup player of the week would probably be Anders Dreyer. It'd probably be Anders Dreyer. Anders Dreyer is just amazing. He's just an amazing player. And my most impressive performance probably in 2020 in this opening weekend, it would probably have to be Nashville SC just absolutely beating down New England 4-1. But then also LAFC beating Inter Miami as bad as they did. There's a lot of good contention, teams for their performance. I would say probably maybe LAFC because they beat the defending champs 3-0. Actually, LAFC being the defending champs 3-0 is very impressive in the first game of the season. So I'd probably say that's my most impressive matchup or performance for the opening weekend. You have to let me know what you guys think down below. Who was your player of the week and what was your favorite match to watch this weekend? Let me know down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Until next time, guys, we'll see you all soon.